What is going on, comic fans? Welcome to the Legion of Comics. I'm Mark, and today I'm here with a video talking about the brand new movie that released, Kraven the Hnter from Marvel Sony. And obviously, people have heard about this. It's the whole Sonyverse debacle that's happening. We're going to get into it, talk about this movie a little bit, as well as what's next for Sony. Don't go anywhere. Let's go. Sure to check out the description down below for some fantastic links to some fantastic resources in this amazing hobby, including Big Time Collectibles, JustinComicx cleaning, pressing, and submission service, and my LCS, ABX Comics and Games. And if you need to set up your very own subscription pool to make sure you don't miss out on any new comics, you can set it up through ABX and they will mail it to you if you're not local, and they do free shipping on orders over $100. So don't miss out on that. Some cool stuff down there, as well as Pop's Attic on Instagram for the cheapest comics you'll find anywhere on the gram. So let's get into it. Kraven the Hnter is the brand new movie that just released from Sony Marvel, starring Aaron Taylor Johnson as the Hunter. Now, it's no secret that the Sonyverse, or if you want to call it that, the Sony Spider-Verse has been a weird ride. It all kicked off in 2018. It's just grown since then. We've got three Venom movies, three Venom movies, an entire trilogy. We got the Morbius film, the very famous or infamous Madam Web film, and then last but not least, Kraven the Hnter with Aaron Taylor Johnson. So this has been going on now for 6 years. They built these films out. Now, I've done a video on it, deep diving on the actual budget, the box office return, the critics, and the fan reviews for each of the films before Kraven. You might want to check that video out. It might surprise you, but the quick summary is all of them have been a financial success except for Madam Web, and Morbius barely squeaked by. So it's no surprise that we have this many Sony Spider-Man, Sonyverse films, but it seems like it's been a law of diminishing returns ever since the second Venom movie, largely due to just numerous things. You know, the interest in comic book movies have gone down. The lockdown really changed everything, and nothing's really been as peak as it has been since Endgame. A lot of these things used to be looked at as tied to the MCU. Like, I think people inevitably thought Spider-Man was coming, or these characters would end up over there, and they never did. And it just kind of disheartened a lot of people. And honestly, just the different tone and style of these things didn't resonate for a lot of people. But we're not going to get into all of that. We're going to talk about where it's kind of going from here, as well as talk about Kraven itself, because I just went and saw it this evening with my dad. We had a good time going to the movies. We enjoy going and seeing stuff. I really feel like there's no better opportunity to enjoy a film and really get the most out of it if it has something to give than going to the actual theater to see the film. I mean, you take the time to drive there, you spend a little bit of money on it, you're sitting down in a room with other people doing the same thing. You really has your focus, your phone's not distracting you. So I think that's really just the best opportunity that you're going to have to enjoy them. And that was the case when you actually go with your friends or family. It just makes it a fun event altogether. You don't really regret the experience, and it's really just leaves you with just the film. So my thoughts on this film are kind of up and down. I'll straight up tell you now, I enjoyed it. I had fun watching it. It's not a good movie. Like, I really think it's important to separate those two things. Do I think it was a quality product, and did I enjoy it? Those are two separate things. I don't think this is a quality product. It's not Madam Web bad. It's not near Madam Web bad. I think it was better than Morbius. And then on the enjoyment level, it was highly enjoyable. It was really fast paced. There's a lot of action in it. The violence level, as it is R-rated, was all there. So it kind of just added that extra level. You know, you have a lot of people that enjoy the little bit of R-rated comic book movies that we get, and this fit into that pretty well. Now, it does suffer from like editing issues. I don't know if you call them issues. It's not as fluid as it could be. Some of the dialogue's cheesy, but it is a comic book movie. I think we look at a lot of stuff with rose-tinted glasses. Most of these things are pretty cheesy for the most part, outside of the Snyderverse stuff. That stuff was taken really serious, and they have like a more detailed, drawn-out plot and stuff. The rest of this stuff really is fast food cinema, and then the Sony flavor just isn't exactly what people are used to or are like compared to the MCU. But this really, like I said, it was fast-paced, action-packed, and it had a ton of characters. Obviously, Kraven's in there, and the whole synopsis is his dad is a crime lord in Russia, and they don't dive into the crimes and stuff. It's really about the family dynamic. It's him and his brother that are raised by his dad, and that dynamic of being raised by a crime lord. He goes one way in life, and an altercation during a hunt left him with some abilities. Now, it isn't like what it looked like in the trailer where he's bitten by a lion and he has animal instincts and abilities. It's not that at all. I won't spoil what it actually is, but it connects him with another character from Spider-Man lore, Calypso. So we're already up to 2 Spider-Man lore characters in here. And then he rolls on, and the kind of the opposing opposite force to his dad's whole empire is the Rhino. And it's not this human form. The Rhino is leading an operation, and they're kind of coming for the throne of a vacated seat in this whole crime enterprise that they're a part of. And the Rhino ends up hiring the Foreigner to come after Kraven and go track him down. So we're up to another one. And Kraven's own brother is the Chameleon. So we have like Kraven, Calypso, Rhino, Foreigner, Chameleon, and they even reference the Jackal as the one who is responsible for the Rhino getting that upgrade that you see in the trailers. Those abilities that he has, which, you want some better shots of it. There it is. I'm going to be honest with you. It looked amazing. I know people are like, there's a good amount of people trying to clown on this design on X, Twitter, and everything. It looked fantastic. Like the guy in the suit thing doesn't work in this case. Like, oh, you should just be a guy in a metal suit. Then why? Like, we've done this in numerous comics. The whole Ultimate Universe, you had the Goblin was infused. It wasn't a guy in the suit. The Amazing Spider-Man universe with Andrew Garfield, when you get into the games and stuff, it was guys that were infused and stuff. And in this case, there was the Jackal's experiments that gave him this ability. It was really cool how they tied it in and just created more Spider-Man lore. And there's a ton of Easter eggs along the way. If you don't want spoilers, I'm going to dip out for a second or earmuffs it, because his brother even goes to see the Jackal by the end of the movie and gets upgraded where he actually looks like the Chameleon, and he's able to shapeshift and not changing masks and stuff, but he's able to actually, it was really cool. It was pretty dope. And this movie does not land up there with pre-Endgame stuff, but this was way more enjoyable than a lot of stuff that's come after Endgame from even the MCU. Like this dunked on the Marvels. Doctor Strange 2 was okay. Like the special effects and that stuff, I don't get, like, that doesn't do it. It has to be more than that. This was kind of like old school action fun, and it was cool seeing all the Easter eggs. It seriously felt like going back to the Fox X-Men era, where you have all these side characters and stuff that are interacting with our main characters, but instead of just being random people, they actually reach into lore and add actual comic characters in there. And that is really enjoyable. If you have that knowledge, that lore, it makes it fun. And it really is similar to Morbius in the sense that it felt like a throwback movie. This movie doesn't seem like something you'd necessarily expect to see in 2024, but something in like earlier years, this would have been a huge hit. This would have really sold in like 2007 kind of thing. This would have been one that people go see and tell their friends to go see kind of thing. But now that we've gotten the ironed out MCU and stuff like that, people just, their expectations are in different places. So I get the kickback from it. But if you look at the Rotten Tomato critic review, it debuted at 9% on Rotten Tomatoes. It's gone up a little bit since then, but it's still ridiculously low. But if you look at the popcorn meter, it's like the last one I looked, it was like at 70 something percent. Like that's wild. That's up there with where Creature Commandos is right now. So it's kind of funny to see the difference in what the critics see in it and what just regular everyday people are seeing in it. It's wildly not even close. But if you look at the whole record of Sony, we can kind of look at and kind of get an idea of what's coming next. Now, there's been a lot of chatter, a lot of buzz that this is it for the Sony Spider-Verse era. To that, I say, this is coming. Spider-Man Noir starring Nicolas Cage is in production. They might be done with production. It's going to be an actual show, live action, Nicolas Cage, Spider-Man Noir. So Sony's not done making Spider-Man stuff, not by a mile. Do not expect Sony to sell off the rights to Spider-Man back to Marvel ever. If you held the rights to Spider-Man on film, would you ever sell it? Absolutely not. You're going to wait till the very end of your deadline, and you're going to make something Spider-Man to extend it. They've got a sweetheart deal to allow Marvel Disney to use the Tom Holland Spider-Man stuff. They're getting paid effortlessly for that. Never expect them to sell it back. So expect stuff like this. And I'm excited for this. I love Nicolas Cage. Spider-Man Noir was a great addition to Across the Spider-Verse with the Miles Morales stuff, which we still have a third Miles movie coming. So no time soon will you see Sony let go of these rights, but they're going to have to do something vastly different as like their attempt at the Secret Six or the Sinister Sixes did not play out. I mean, we have all the characters there now. They're literally one movie away from pulling it off. And there's some Easter eggs and all this stuff that could really open it up to doing something with Spider-Man. But, you know, over time, things change. But let's take a look at this before we get out of here. And we'll look at the critics' response to all of these films. But Venom, Let There Be Carnage came in at the highest with 58%, which I would argue for me is terrible. I dislike that movie thoroughly. Venom The Last Dance at 41%, Venom at 30%, Morbius at 15%, Kraven the Hnter at 14%, and Madam Web at 11%. If I had to put these in order from the ones that I liked down to the least liked, I would probably put Venom 3 that I like the most, then Kraven the Hnter, then Venom 1, Morbius, Let There Be Carnage, and then Madam Web. That would be my ranking for this. But who knows what critics go in and actually rate these things on. And keep in mind that it's just everyone that gave it 3.5 stars or less than 3.5 out of 5 stars, it goes negative. So it's a weird rating system that they have overall. But I would definitely highly suggest anyone go check these movies out for themselves, because you never know how you'll feel about it. And the same thing with Kraven. I know it's fun just to like jump on the bandwagon online and assume these people that are trashing it seen it, but you can tell from the box office numbers they probably haven't seen it. Definitely suggest seeing it for yourself. This will be one that I end up buying on physical media. I love physical media, good, bad, indifferent. I'd rather have a copy. It'd definitely be one that I buy and add to the collection. I bought the Venom movies, and I'm not the biggest fan of those, but this one I'll definitely be re-watching again. For all its faults, there's a lot to enjoy with it. So I definitely recommend everyone do the same. Be sure to leave me a comment down below. Let me know if you saw the movie, what you thought of the movie. And until the next one, as always, I'm Mark, but we are Legion.